I mean, that all it transcends the Bush administration. I know Cheney and Rumsfeld set it up back in the 80s, the modern expression of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the products of the whole economic system that has built the military-industrial intelligence complex as kind of the main engine of power in the United States.
But will it slow down? I mean, it wants to federalize police. It wants to have Lockheed Martin red light cameras. I mean, basically the military-industrial complex is eating the United States right now. Can they be stopped? Can they be slowed down? Or will this organism just keep growing no matter what and start World War III?
I think they can be stopped. I think they can slow down. I think a lot of it, Alex, depends on us, on the loyal opposition, on the people who call attention to this. It's not something that will happen by itself, because clearly these people have all kinds of contingency plans. I mean, the Patriot Acts were not written on the spur of the moment. They were pulled out of government files.
A decade old, yeah.
The same thing with the attack plans on Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan. These are off-the-shelf plans. I mean, these people have nothing to do except sit around and dream up wars. And sure, they've got plans and they've got facilities. There was an order that went out on official United States Army bulletin to have the Army bases be prepared to take civilian prisoners off the hands of the state prison systems and put them to work as free slave labor on the Army bases.
Yeah, that's the civilian inmate labor camp program.
Yeah, so all of that is there. I mean, we've got an enormous...
Yeah, bottom line, we have a very bad elite in control who are out of control, and they don't even know what's good for themselves. And they already own and run everything. They just got to have more. Why can't they just let us at least live?
Well, because we're in economic collapse, and the only thing that they can think of to do in an economic collapse is for more people to work for the government.
One-trick pony, and only a war economy can do that.
Right, to borrow more. I mean, that's how we got out of World War II. The Vietnam War became an economic driver, and that's what Reagan did with the $1 trillion military buildup. They all do it because our economic system is structured on the basis of Keynesian economics, and that means government deficit spending.
Yep.
That means the military-industrial complex.
Richard C. Cook, fire out your website.
It's www.richardccook.com.
richardccook.com. Read his columns everywhere. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Alex.
Have a great Labor Day tomorrow. We're going to come back, cover some other key news. We got another big guest coming up. Infowars.com is the website. In T-minus 45 minutes, my new film drops at prisonplanet.tv. Again, the new film I produced, directed by Jason Burmis. We're going to release it at prisonplanet.tv. The DVD starts shipping out Tuesday. You can order them right now at Infowars.com. Fabled Enemies. Check out all the details at Infowars.com and prisonplanet.tv. You'll be able to watch that coming up in just about 45 minutes. I got a lot of other news, economic news, police state news, your phone calls, of course, coming in. I haven't taken any of those yet, but the Russia situation was so important I wanted to cover it. I want to thank the listeners of this show. For people that aren't aware of what happened Tuesday, I was out in Denver, and they were having a moronic Recreate 68 anarchist event where these fools were saying they were going to levitate the U.S. Mint. Fox News lied and said that I said I was out there levitating the Mint. Michelle Malkin is out there who said I lied about the Marines throwing the puppy off the cliff. She said I made that up. I was just covering the Associated Press. Later, the Marines admitted, indeed, it was true, and they kicked those guys out. She has written books about how torture is good and Abu Ghraib is good, and she's written about how they put Americans in camps. And I'm out there, and her bodyguards, and it's all on video, come up and start bumping into me. I'm talking to her in a normal voice, saying, why did you write that? Why did you say that? I've interviewed her twice before. They came and got in my face. Fox News edited it to the end of it. And then they lied and said that I said kill Michelle Malkin. Now, it turns out we have video of her leaving in the parking lot with the people that were behind me screaming kill Michelle Malkin. Then they would scream Alex is a capitalist pig and stuff like that. They were just trying to incite the crowd. And the Dallas Morning News and Denver Post have had to both do retractions. So there you go. Thank you, listeners, for calling them and sending them the video clips. Mark Davis at the Dallas Morning News sent a vicious email to my wife. I'm thinking about action against him because, people think I got up and said, kill this woman. But doesn't matter. It's been retracted. The lie has been exposed. And those videos are all up on Infowars.com. Now, I'm going to play this 6 minutes of me on Russian TV, myself on Russian TV, last Thursday. And I think I break it down well in about 6 minutes. And I did this because I am patriotic and because I will not let our country, we run this country, the people do, start wars with Russia and then lie to the dumbed-down public and tell them that Russia started it. So here are the facts, international television, Russia Today, and you'll hear some audio in the background because they were playing videos with audio turned up a bit behind me. You can watch the video at Infowars.com, too. Here it is.
Russia has criticized the Western media for what it's called its biased view on the conflict. But not all journalists blame Russia for the conflict. Well, we're now joined on the line by Alex Jones, the U.S. investigative journalist from the Infowars.com website, to get his opinion on all this. Hello to you, Mr. Jones. So in your opinion, what was wrong with the coverage of this conflict in Western media?
Well, Ellis, thank you for having me on. First off, let me say I am ashamed as an American. I'm a loyal American who loves my country, but my country has been taken over by a private international military-industrial complex, and they launched the sneak attack on the Russian enclaves of Abkhazia and other areas, as you know, on 8/88, using the cover of the Olympic Games and a dastardly sneak attack on the order of Pearl Harbor in World War II. And I am just so ashamed that our country's been hijacked and is being used to do this. And I am a syndicated radio host and, of course, run the news site Infowars.com. And that morning I was watching foreign news, and I knew that the U.S.-backed Georgians, the Israeli and NATO-backed Georgians had snuck attacked viciously and were hunting down and killing civilians, attacking the peacekeepers, just unprecedented crimes in our modern age, the 21st century. And then I would turn on CNN and Fox and even BBC, and they were reporting that Russia, it was headlines, Russia invades Georgia, Russia sneak attacks. And our leaders went on television and said that we would have to have a new Cold War. It was such an insult to the American people's intelligence that the United States-backed Georgia snuck attack areas on your border. And I apologize as an American that we've let our government been taken over like this. And this is not the United States that I grew up in. It's very, very shameful. Even in the Cold War, our governments didn't do things like this to each other. And the Russian people I know want to work with the American people in Europe and sell us oil and gas. And the neocons in NATO, in the U.S. and Israel, want to have a new Cold War. And that's why they launched this sneak attack on Russia, thinking that they could intimidate Russia. They expected Russia to back down, but Russia didn't back down. And I just hope Russia keeps troops in Georgia so no more sneak attacks can be launched, because the dictator, and we know he was elected under fraud, there in Georgia, has said that he plans, he said it last week, to attack again as soon as he can. So please, Russia does not need to leave these areas that have been part of Russia for years, Abkhazia and Ossetia, because we don't want violence. The American people don't want this. We want to be friends with Russia. And the good news is, for a full week, our lying, controlled New World Order media tried to tell us that Russia snuck attack, but the American people found out it was a lie, and now it's discredited our controlled media even more. And then kicking the Russian ambassador out of Mexico last week, unprecedented. That is a prelude, in many cases, to war, moving missile systems and troops and more trainers into Ukraine, into Czech Republic, into Poland. The world does not need this, but the New World Order corporate criminals in the West do not want Russia selling cheap oil and gas to Europe. They do not. They want to keep the prices high.
Mr. Jones, you certainly got some strong condemnation, or words to say, rather, on the media portrayal of all this. But why do you think it is that Western media has taken the slant you say it has? Is it guided by NATO's agenda?
NATO is a puppet of the military-industrial complex, the Anglo-American Western New World Order system based in, of course, London and New York and D.C. They have hijacked the U.S. They have implemented continuity of government. They have geared up for martial law. They've built FEMA camps here. They're destroying our republic. They're destroying our freedoms. They're coming after the free press. And so they're using NATO expansion as a way to widen a war throughout Central Asia and then to the west through Eastern Europe and Central Europe. And I really appreciate the fact that Russia has been restrained in all of this. And I just want to say, I am an American patriot. I stand for my country first. And I'm very sad to have to come out and speak out against my criminal government. but it's going to continue under McCain or Barack Obama. The PNAC documents written by the neocons say they want war with Russia and China. The American people do not want it. This is not strong condemnation. This is a saddened American having to beg the world to understand that we've been hijacked in the U.S. We do not like what's happening. The British people do not like what's happening. We want to be friends with Russia and China. We do not want this, but the neocons are bloodthirsty. They've attacked all these countries. They have just came out in New Yorker magazine that Dick Cheney wanted to stage new terror attacks a few months ago against the U.S. fleet, having Navy SEALs dress up like Iranians. He wanted Navy special ops commandos to attack our own ships, to blame it on Iran. We have a criminal regime. We are in an emergency situation. We are under martial law for all intents and purposes in the United States. The United States has been taken over.